Spirit
Hey
finger.
everyone, you.
Again.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Baka.
He's moving his camera. Please hold. Baka
Yeah.
was not as ready as he said he was.
To be fair,
I just looked at it, noticed it was off a bit, but
they were messing with me, so I had to hurry up and do this intro really fast to make sure they couldn't get me again.
That's what it was. Yes.
Yes.
We did the intro so fast that Oak transitioned into his Joe Biden bit for some reason. I don't know what's going on over there.
All right, Joe.
And it sounds like there's a plane taking off at our house. I do not know what that sound is. That's great. This whole show is gonna be super fantastic.
I'm gonna need your child running at the same time that the plane is happening.
Running around upstairs, and
I'm pretty sure it's him pushing something upstairs, but I don't know what it is. And good lord, it's loud. All right,
My next door neighbor's son could start up the Harley at any moment.
Oh man. I didn't think about any discussions this week because
man, I
have like half a brain cell to function with these days, so it's been pretty expended.
I understand.
But that's okay, because I know Chicken's going to talk about what he's been playing, because it's something he's been waiting on for like 16 forever.
And it ties into the news, so
it does.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, this was also the open beta weekend for Diablo 4. And I know a lot of people have been playing it. I've played it too.
Fours.
Exactly. I'm enjoying the shit out of it. It's pretty fun. They kind of took a step back from where Diablo 3 was, where it was just zug. The combat feels a little slower, a little bit heavier.
In a good way, though, right?
Yes, in a good way, where it actually feels like you're moving through the mobs.
It feels more closer to how 2 was.
Yes, they leaned closer to 2 than 3, which I think at higher levels you'll probably be closer to like a better feeling version of 3, because with certain builds in 3 it was just walk through everything and everything just dies, and that just kind of got boring after a while. So we'll have to see how it is at the end game for it. But the itemization's weird. Like I got an item like after the first boss that completely like set my build into place. One of my abilities, I throw it out, it hits them and drops a pool of stuff that damages, and anything that's standing on them, my
what
skeletons.
Are you playing as?
The Necromancer. I tried the Druid and I was like, oh yeah, this is fun. Switched to the Necromancer. I was like, I'm sold. Sold.
I feel like you're not the only one.
No, because I mean, I was a huge Necromancer fan in Diablo 2. It's my favorite class, hands down.
Red was playing with the Necromancer as well, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to play this. So,
like,
yeah,
but my class.
I have been playing with the Sorcerer. I played a little bit of the Barbarian. That one, it would have to be like I might have to play with that one more to find a set of builds and abilities that I would probably like in it. But it wasn't enough in the beginning for me to like, okay, yeah, I'll keep playing this. I did the Rogue. I played with daggers because I found a couple of rare daggers. I also played with the bow. Kind of like that more than the Barbarian, but I am having a lot of fun on the Sorcerer. Just frozen orbs. I've got Hydro now, so I'll throw that on the ground and throw out the frozen orbs and do my normal crossbolt and just run around and dodge things and let the Hydra just kind of pick at everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of the builds are pretty good. And like I said, the itemization completely determines how you build, though, because it changes your skills in such a drastic way. I saw a druid piece of armor, because you could be a summoning druid where you can summon wolves, like a couple of wolves that run around with you, and you can go with that and you buff them up. There's a piece of armor that changes your wolves into werewolves, makes them attack faster, and gives them the rabies ability. So not only like, because you could do
what does rabies ability do?
When you bite something, it does a massive poison damage over time ability on it, and it spreads to other targets around it. So you do that, your werewolf buddies do that. You're just poison spreading as fast as possible. That will be how you farm. Is like you do a ton of poison damage. So it's like, wow, okay. So if you get that, you're like, I'll change up my build. I'm gonna build around this now, this style of play. Because I was looking at the thing. You could do earth elemental style build. You could do a fire elemental style build, hurricane style build, summoning style build, poison build, werebear build, werewolf build. It's
That's
just
a lot
depending
of
on
stuff.
options.
Diablo 2, I used to have a werewolf build where I would run around and I would hit as hard as the bear, but like way faster.
The fury build.
Yeah.
Druid's got crazy buffed in Diablo 2. Crazy fucking buffed, because now you get all of your summons. You don't choose between bear wolf or little wolf. You get everything.
Here's all of your stuff.
You run around with a full pack of everything, so it's like, cool. Just
they also have limited it where I remember in Diablo 2, you could go past 5 points and things.
Oh yeah, you could go up to 20 points was the maximum that you could put bear points into. Druid pun. Get it, bear points.
And
this one limits it to just 5 in each ability. So
or 3, depending on, because some skills only allow you, some passives only allow you 3
from
points.
what I played with the sorcerer, like all of them have been like mostly 5.
The big skills, I think, are just 5. Like, you can only scale them up to 5. But the thing that I got from my necromancer is that ability where you throw it out and it drops a pool and everything standing in it, your skeletons hit harder. The first item that I got was actually, when you throw that down, it pulls all the mobs in the area to it.
Oh, like a gravity bomb thing.
Yeah, it's like a gravity bomb. I was like, oh, this is fucking busted. So now I throw it into the middle of it. It pulls everything to it, and my skellies just surround it and keep everything in there, and it does damage over time while they stand on it. So I was like, oh, okay. My build is gonna complete like right here, so this is convenient as hell.
It's gonna destroy stuff.
Yeah, I was very happy with getting that first drop. So
I wonder how much of that they'll change before June.
They said that the drop rate is ridiculously increased right now. It's going to go back to being more normal.
I guess they're doing it just to give people kind of a taste of the stuff, right?
Yeah, they want those items out, and they want problems that are found with those items to be found now rather than later.
Kind of like with Chicken's busted thing.
Yep.
Yeah, getting that at level 2, like that's crazy. Like, I didn't even have that ability. Like, I learned it because I leveled up after I killed the boss, and then I got it. Like, I didn't even have that ability when that item dropped. I was like, oh wow, this is convenient. And another nice thing, because they let you customize everything, you get an item with that ability on it. You take it to the runologist or the arcanologist or whatever it is, you can take that ability off of that item, which destroys the item, creates an artifact, and you could put that artifact on another item. So you could replace, like, you find a higher level legendary item, you put that on that one, and you've got your higher level version of that. So you're not stuck using a level 2 item.
Forever.
But you want that artifact. Like, that ability is what you want.
I wonder how many artifacts you can add on to one item.
Just one. You're only allowed like one unique ability, but you can have like 13 pieces of gear, which means you can have 13 abilities on all of your gear.
That's too much.
Well, I was just thinking, because like if this was back in Diablo 2, so someone would have basically gone through and was like, yeah, I want that one and that one and that one, and like added all these abilities just on one item.
Yeah, you get one ability on it. The pair of pants that I got, whenever I strike an elite, it gives me a huge ass shield. And I don't know how it works with your summons, but anything that I get, apparently, all of my summons get. So whenever we start a fight with an elite, everybody gets a giant shield. It's like, well, this synergizes pretty well. This is convenient again. So sometimes you get lucky with stuff, and then other times you just don't. I got a couple of other crappy pieces that I was like, I don't really care for this. I'm just going to dismantle it and take the artifact and hold on to it in case I find something that I want to put it on. Because it was like a barbarian piece, and I was like, I don't want to use this.
Yeah, I was
trade those items between
taking some of the
people.
rares and putting them in the stash.
You cannot, like legendaries that you find, you cannot trade.
People have to earn it, basically.
Yes. Well, the real reason that they do that is because Diablo has a long, varied history with real money transactions, and this completely removes that. You cannot buy stuff from other players in this game, so you have to farm it. So that's kind of the route they went with that. It's like, okay, you kind of went with that ideology because you're so afraid of what you did in Diablo 3 with the real money auction house and how that bombed.
Diablo 2 with SOJs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's still a real money transaction thing in Diablo 2's community. Huge. But that's just how it is. It's how it's always been for the last 22 years.
I guess they added the real money auction house thing in the same vein, like thought process of Bethesda when they were like, we're going to sell you mods. Where it's like, people are already buying these and getting them elsewhere. We might as well muscle in on some of that money. And everybody's like, no.
Yep. Some people paid for
it. It was that and to try to combat just people not buying their way up, basically.
But yeah,
I'm like, hey, I ran through all the dungeons and stuff and leveled up and bought all this gear, and now I just run through and just kill everything and farm.
Yeah, which I don't know why you would do that.
Why would you farm if you bought the stuff?
Yeah, like that kind of kills the whole
you can
point.
Sell it to other people.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta make your money back.
Yeah, I don't know. But the game looks fun. If you like action RPGs, Diablo 4 looks pretty solid. The giant open world style fits it pretty well. It just plays like your typical action RPG. Story's pretty good. I don't mind it at all. They're going with the different route. I'm very interested to see how it ends. Because they talk about the prime evils, which is Diablo and Baal and Mephisto and whatnot, and it's like they're coming back, and it's like, are they coming back? You're talking about big names here. Like those are iconic characters that were gone.
Yeah, they'll be kind of big deals.
They did Skinny Diablo and Diablo 3, so
Skinny Diablo. What? It's like Diablo's.
Yeah. And 1 and 2, he was jeans. Like all big and buff, and then 3, it's like, yeah, we're gonna make him all scrawny looking.
Yeah, like in Diablo 1, he was this giant hulking beast, and in Diablo 2, he was again the giant hulking beast, and in Diablo 3, he was just this tall, lanky thing with some I think he had 4 arms or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Look, he went on a fad diet. It didn't work out. Maybe he'll be back to normal now.
Apparently that was supposed
to skip every day.
I tried to pay attention to this story a bit, but I've looked through the lore too, and it's just kind of like, eh. But apparently that was supposed to be the manifestation of the prime evil of all 3 lords into one.
That's why he had
the
extra
skinny
arms.
one was?
What?
The skinny
the skinny Diablo version was supposed to be
it's
all 3
supposed
of
to be
this.
3 together?
That feels backwards. You'd think if you're adding more people into your being, you'd be bigger.
It's supposed to be the manifestation of all 3 of their physiques, but I mean, it's like it had Diablo's head and Mephisto's body and I don't know, Baal's intelligence. I don't fucking know.
Dumb.
Because it's the 3 prime evils and the 5 or the 4 lesser evils.
If you're bringing them all together, they should be way scarier. Not
Lilith
more laughable.
Right. Lilith is the daughter of hatred, which is Mephisto's daughter, which is supposed to be the leader of them. Granted, he's the one that we kill first. Actually kill too.
Yeah, but you can resurrect him probably.
Maybe.
Yes and no. Like that's in the lore world of Diablo. You take their soul stone, which is what is their soul, and you take it to the Hellforge and you smash it. Which in WoW terms, Grif, it sends them to the void. Like you're lost and adrift in nothingness forever. So that's what's supposed to happen. I assume that Lilith is going to somehow create a door that opens it up and lets the prime evils back out again.
It would basically allow them to do expansions on this, where it's like, yeah, she actually kind of succeeded, and now you got to fight all of them again.
Which, to be fair, long term, that actually sounds like it would be kind of fun. Like the Mephisto expansion, where Mephisto, he gets his own continent, his own class, his own whole entire section.
Mm-hmm.
You get him, and then Diablo.
Yeah, they can bring back like the paladin. The paladin would be a good one to bring in.
I think I said last week or whatever it was, whenever they were going to do expansions, the paladin will be the first expansion character. Quote me on that. The paladin will be the first expansion character. Betting on it.
Bet money.
That one is too easy to not do.
Fair.
And then who else is? I mean, I guess if they want to add in D3, the demon hunter, what was popular?
You go with the rogue.
The rogue is already in the game. So.
I know, but the rogue fills that ranged slot.
The rogue also fills the slot of the assassin too. So.
Fills those two. That's why the paladin's the only one that I can think of right out of the gate. Maybe the monk. The monk would be the only one that like is so different from the rest that it could actually fill a character slot.
We'll see. Well, I'm glad that you guys are enjoying that.
Yeah, it's been fun. Like I'm glad you got a chance to play it. Unfortunately, I was going to, but I haven't got an opportunity to because I was out of town yesterday. So,
well, it closes later on, so we
tonight. It's done.
Yes,
this weekend.
Yes, tonight.
Is it tonight?
Is it tomorrow?
I can actually.
I thought it was just 24th through 26th.
I can check.
No, it was still going because I was playing it more earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm debating once we're done here going and trying out the druid a bit.
The druid is kind of fun. I got him to 7.
That necromancer I'm gonna wait on because right now in the beta, if there's too much shit on the screen, I lag out on.
I lag like a motherfucker. The game is rough in that aspect, which I'm glad that you brought that up. Like I even turned my settings down, and it's still, if you hit specific. I play on hardcore. Like just because it adds another variation to the challenge. So if I die, your character's automatically deleted. You don't get any secondary thing. Your character's deleted. Good job. Your name's on the leaderboard. And I was this close to dying because I was doing a giant boss fight, like a world event boss fight, and I kept lagging when my skellies would run in, and I would get caught in one of the little frozen orbs, and it would freeze my character, and another one would bust on top of me, and I was full health, and I would come back to having like this much, and I'm like, mash heal, mash heal. Oh god,
yeah, that's why I wasn't doing hardcore right now. I was like, no, the lag is way too much.
Oh, it's rough.
I've died like twice on the sorcerer because of lag.
Yes, you can play it tonight if you wanted to play it. Oak, it ends March 27th at 12 p.m. So tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning at 9:10.
I'd be interested to see how they're gonna. I had to double check and make sure that I was remembering this correctly. That Diablo 4 is going to be on last generation of consoles too. And if you're having a problem with your PC and lagging with that stuff in there, I'm wondering how that's going to handle it. Because I'm pretty sure the PS5 and the Xbox Series systems will do fine. Maybe not the Series S. I don't know. It might lag a little bit too because it's just an Xbox One X Plus. But
I think because this is the beta, so it's probably a build before or a couple builds before what they have actually now. And they're like, because right now there's a memory leak too. Like it's just eating the shit out of people's memory and graphics cards, and it's just running poorly. And they're addressing it now. They're like, okay, we need to figure out where these problems are. Hence why the beta, and stressing their servers pretty tightly too. So it's heavily lagging. For the most part, I've been pretty good, but you definitely hit some stutter frames periodically. Not rarely, periodically. Yeah. That's for sure. So I assume the game will run pretty well when it first comes out. This is not Blizzard's first release. So it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad right out of the gate as usual,
Mhm.
and then it'll stabilize in like a day or 2 or 3. It doesn't
At
take
least
them
by the
long
first
anymore.
week, it's probably going to be mostly okay.
I'd be interested to
Mhm.
see if they drop another beta just before, like maybe like in May or something like that. Get them up before just to check.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. That kind of get that hype up again. I don't know if they're gonna do it with KFC again. I'm not sure why they did it with KFC in the first place.
Because people like chicken.
That was the closed beta, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
You
that
have to,
was
you
that
had to
was
go
weird.
buy a double down.
Because they wanted you to have
The
heart
double down
attacks.
is back though.
Yeah.
They
They
just
brought it back for
Mhm.
that.
It's a weird
Yeah, that's
tie-in.
right, Baka. Look at that face. There, you're like, Blizzard paid KFC to bring the double down back to do a Diablo 4 beta. What?
Because trying to eat one of those is pretty much hell, and then you're going to have a
I
heart
had
attack.
one. I had one, and it was good. But holy shit, that is good enough for me.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I was gonna say,
Yum
like,
Foods in
I've
general,
had
they're
one,
known
and
for
that was it. Like it was interesting to try, but
Yum Foods in general are known for big promotional shit anyway. So, like any of their brands are all promotional stuff.
Yeah.
It's all a Pepsi company.
But yeah. Yeah, that is an interesting one. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did another beta right before release.
Well,
Awesome.
I haven't been doing anything important. Played up. Lots and lots of played up. Chicken had to help me get my save back because my home version corrupted and reset my levels. And I was like, no. No, I really don't want to be level 0 again. I have 235 hours into this, please. So, thankfully, I also play on a laptop, and the cloud saves from the laptop were still good. So, you
Yay.
know,
Yeah,
if you don't have a laptop that you
man.
play on, that the developers really need to figure out what's going on with that bug, because apparently it happens frequently. So,
Oh, that would suck to have to start from scratch all the time because you didn't
especially after
have-
putting 250 hours like she has in to lose all of your progress. You're like,
yep, because you lose all of your recipes and all of your like layouts and everything. So you start back with
all your
just the steak.
franchises.
Yeah, you lose all
all
of
your
your
items.
franchises. Garage items are gone. You can start with cooking steak, and that's it. You have to go all the way back through and unlock all of the recipes again. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was ready to just throw things out a window. So, luckily Chicken fixed it. Thank you.
Oh, man, it was getting close to the point of no return though. So luckily we got it fixed.
Yeah. Game's still fun though. Would have started over. Would have hated it. Would have started over anyway.
Would have hated it, but I would have done it anyway.
I would have. Especially since like you start out with steak, which is just a garbage thing to try to start out with. You're not gonna franchise with steak, especially if you're new.
I hate steaks, man.
You can't
Having the
automate it
three-
in any way because there's three
you
ways they
can't-
want it cooked.
Well, you can. It's just that you need like 3 hobs.
Cooking three
three-
different versions of the steaks.
Yeah, you gotta have one that's gonna you gotta have 3 smart grabbers too, so that it grabs it after it's done cooking entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, rough,
Yeah.
rough.
That's stupid. Stupid.
So stupid.
It is. I don't know why that's the first thing that they're like, let us introduce you to our fun gameplay by a thing that will make you hate the gameplay. But it is what it is. Glad I got that back. Well,
Awesome.
anybody else play anything interesting before Chicken starts fanboying for reals?
No,
him
actually, I
fanboy
haven't.
on Resident Evil.
What'd you say?
I said
He
let
just said, "Let me
him go
fanboy."
fanboy in Resident Evil now.
Yeah, I haven't played anything because been working all week and then just haven't had time, I guess. So
So as much as I've enjoyed playing Diablo 4 in my afternoons, my nights have been filled with playing Resident Evil 4, the remake. And I mean, words just do not describe how unbelievably well made this game is. one of the streamers that I watched, he was just about as excited as I was for this, and watching him go from excited to just completely blown away, because you're like, oh, I'm hoping this is good, because Resident Evil 3 was just like, you were hoping it was good, and then it just kind of went downhill, and you're like, I've played Resident Evil 4 for 5 hours, and when I played Resident Evil 3, I was already done with it. I'm not even a quarter of the way done with Resident Evil 4 now. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah. It's a good way to take a hit on the other game, too.
It is. And trust me, like watching the VOD, because I was not going to watch him play this before I was. So I'm watching him play it up to where I'm at, and then I'll watch from there for his first time through. But this game, it parallels the incredibleness of the original. Like when Resident Evil 4 came out, it was the pinnacle of game developing, because everybody agreed it was probably one of the best games made that year. And as time has gone on, it's one of the best games ever made. It's definitely on the top 10 list of almost everybody, just because of also what it did for the third-person shooter genre, the Resident Evil genre, horror survival, things like that. Like, so many games take so much from it when it came out. Hell, so many spin-offs came from the development of that game that we still love to this day. Dante is Leon in a different world.
Yeah.
So Resident Evil 4 is so fucking iconic. So when they started talking about this one being made, everyone's like, oh, I hope they do it right. Capcom said, let me show you how to do it right again. And they have created something that only they could, in the context of it being so, I'm not going to say perfect, but damn near it.
Pretty close.
Watching the Steam reviews roll in, and it's at like 97% positive. Overwhelmingly positive out of like 13,000 reviews. Everybody who plays this is just like, all right, good job. Holy shit. I can't complain about it. It runs well. There's no bugs. The story is good. The music is good. The combat is good. Everything is good. Like, you took what worked in the first one, brought it all to the remake, made it better. Like, there are certain parts where you could kind of feel it was a little disjointed in the first one, and it flows perfectly. Like, some of the parts just kind of feel out of place, but almost everything feels perfectly set. Like, in the original, there's a part where you have to go through this. It's just, you go through this area to get to the lake. And in this one, they set that off to the side, and you go through a different area that's the same place. It's in the original, but you go to that area that was just a filler side for a purpose. Like, they actually build it and design it differently for a different part of the story, and it fits much better. If you like games, play this one.
If you like games.
If you like games, you have to play this one. Because it's modern enough that anybody can. It's accessible to anybody. I mean, even if you're not that good at shooters, still play this one. It has assisted mode. Play it, because the story alone is good, and Leon is so perfect as Leon. Like, his actor, I guarantee his actor played enough of the fourth one, or read the script enough to be like, I could deliver this, and he does. Like, you get his one-liners every so often where he is just like, oh. There were multiple times where I was like, oh, god damn it, again? And Leon goes, of course. Because when you shoot their head off, sometimes the parasite will come flying out. And I'm like, god damn it, again. Of course. It's like, okay. Or he gets his little sarcastic look when, after you finish a combat fight, he'll just go, of course. Like, he just smirks about it. And you're like, yeah, that's right. Because he's got this demeanor that conveys really well when you're playing him, and his idle animations.
He's very sassy.
Yes, like they did such a good job. I've got about 6.5 hours in there, and I just got Ashley. So we're gonna see how gameplay plays with her. The upgrade system, the way the merchant is this time, The little side missions are good. Side quests are good. The treasures are good. I mean, the little bait and switch, called it. Holy shit! I was never convinced otherwise. They made it even better too. Like Capcom knew exactly who they were making this game for and why. Because apparently there are also Easter eggs later on that do a little nod to specific things from the original too. So we'll have to see once we get there. But they definitely knew what they were doing and how they wanted it done when they made this game. They were as true to a remake as you could possibly be. If you're going to remake a game, I can only hope that Silent Hill 2 looks at this and goes, we're going to do that.
I hope so.
We're going to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, you also had Resident Evil 2 remake made, and you're like, oh, this is really good. They made some great changes, and then Resident Evil 3 existed.
They made that mistake because that was the B team, for the record. The people who made Resident Evil 2 are the ones that made Resident Evil 4.
I hope whoever, if they're doing a 5 or a 1, I hope that B team got fired. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm sure they got talked to.
A good talking to. Listen here now.
Yeah, but all the changes, everything in this game is just perfectly well done. The redesigns, the level designs, the enemies are a pain in the ass. Oh my god, and Leon, you get to feel like so much more of a badass as Leon, because not only can you like dodge out of the way when they go to grapple you, you could parry them. And watching him play this, like they're unpredictable. They'll come and swing at you, and you could parry, and you could try to run, but they could instantly try to swing at you again, or they'll hesitate, or they'll step back, or they'll throw it at you. Like, it's all random on how they want to play against you. At one point, he was trying to bait one of them down a hallway to blow him up, and it came around the corner into the doorway and just started throwing the axes at him.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm not going to walk into that hallway to get blown up. I see what you're trying to do. I'm going to stand right here and throw axes at you. And he's like, I'm going to walk out of this hallway to lure him down. He walked out of the hallway. Dude went back.
Like, bye.
I was like, I'm not coming down there. You have to come over this way to continue the story. So I'm going to wait for you. So the AI is so much smarter.
That's good. I hope you're right. I know you said recently that, or that you saw something recently that said Blooper Team said that they were pretty much done with Silent Hill 2, and it's like, oh, please. After you see a remake like this, please, you have to be good.
Yes, you have to be good. That's it. Silent Hill 2 is the final sprinkles on the perfect cake for this year. Dead Space was fucking beautiful. So well done and well made. Resident Evil 4, like, peak of the mountain. Like, you can't even compare it to anything. If I had to guess, it will probably take Game of the Year just because of how good it is. And Silent Hill 2 in October, I'm betting on it. October release, scary month, Silent Hill release.
It's the year of the remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're now to the point in video games that all of us complain about movies, and the fact that they've gone to the point it's like, all right, they don't have an original idea in Hollywood anymore, so they got to rebuild the games. I mean, rebuild the movies, and it's like, and sometimes those are hits, and a lot of times they're not. In this case, at least the two that have already hit this year, when it comes to the video games, have been pretty good. So, I guess we'll have to, hopefully Silent Hill's like, either we're gonna do this right, and we feel confident based on what's being released right now with Resident Evil 4, or they're gonna delay that game.
I'm kind of curious.
Show me the hat trick, Blooper Team. Show me the hat trick. All 3 legendary survival horror games released in the same year for remakes, and they all 3 top charts. That would be perfect. Like, oh man.
And then they just gotta do Dino Crisis.
Come on, Capcom, you could do it. Oh man.
Well,
Like I cannot wait to play more. Like I am so fucking invested into playing this again. I have to clear everything. I am just taking my time, going through everything, picking up everything, looking at everything because I did watching his playthrough. I missed one thing. I cannot believe I missed it. But there was a secret lever somewhere that lets you go somewhere, but you can't get up there without Ashley. So now that I have her, I could go back to that and do it. He couldn't do it, but I know where it's at. I know where it's at.
Big brain.
If you need Ashley, you can go back there and do that. So I'm absolutely going back because I have this obsession where you have to 100% it entirely in its entirety. So I am so psyched to play it some more.
I can't wait to see what the speedrunning community does with this once it's like been out for a little bit and see, because you're trying to 100% this one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then I would like you to try to play through it just normally without 100% and see the time that it would take a normal person to go through that doesn't, just go through and play and see that's familiar with the original anyway.
On the hardcore difficulty, because in Resident Evil 2, they give you these little timers because they know Capcom knows that they have a speedrunning community. They have these little timers. The hardest difficulty in Resident Evil 2 for this to the S rank was 2 hours and 15 minutes to beat the game.
Wow.
This one is over 5 hours.
Wow. That's a lot of content.
This game is a lot bigger. Like they stuffed it full of content, and I felt personally called out on the difficulty selection because I always like to play through games on standard difficulty, mediums, because I just want to play through it. And the medium, the standard difficulty was for people new to Resident Evil 4, and I was like, but I'm not new. And then you go down to hardcore, and it's like for people familiar with Resident Evil 4 2005, and I was like, well, fine. If you're gonna call me out like that, I can't not play hardcore. So I'm playing hardcore.
The guilty gear.
Which is tough. Like you have to know what you're doing. The AI react differently because before you shoot them in the head, they stagger. Now you shoot them in the head and they just walk at you. You're like, you just got to pop them a couple of times until they stagger, and one shot in the leg doesn't make them stop. They'll just keep coming after you. You've got to apply more pressure.
At least the few bits that I've watched you play, I do wish that their head would move a little when you were shooting them in the face, because like a lot of those was just like the splatter to indicate to you so you've hit them, but that was it. There was no little, and then just keep going type deal. It was. It's like I do wish their head would go a little bit, because just physics alone would require their head to drop back.
Physics would cause a little bit of recoil in their heads and whatnot. But I guess it's also a little, because at one point you see a cinematic where you just start blasting this big guy and he doesn't even phase. He just walks up and roundhouse kicks you in the chest. It's like, oh god.
Of course he does.
But yeah, I'm in love all over again.
That's good.
Definitely, if you are interested in it, definitely play it. Like this game will not disappoint in any respect. Like I'm pretty sure
Grif doing really well on Steam. You've got, I think it was 132,000 basically. They were playing it on the first day. I don't know how many are currently playing it right now,
which blew the previous records out of the water.
And so that's and that number I'm sure is going to get higher and higher as the weekend goes on and next week comes on. So. As people get their paychecks to be able to buy it, that didn't pre-order it, just watched a few things going, oh, I'm buying it now.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people were like a little hesitant just to make sure that it was good. It's good. Like it is really, really good.
Not just good, not broken. Nowadays, games are broken when they're released. So
yeah, this thing is just almost flawless.
Almost.
Almost. I mean, I haven't finished it. I can't say that for a fact. I don't know what the mid to end game is. I'm still like nearly the beginning.
Several hours in.
Like the few things that I've seen that that really aren't spoiler-ish are just like, well, the character interactions between Ashley and Leon are a ton better The development between Leon and other characters are a lot better. Like the script is a lot better in this one. You actually get more development instead of it feeling more like, the action, the gameplay is what carries Resident Evil 4, the original. This one, it feels like the gameplay is still just as damn good, but the characters are even better. You get more from them, which is super nice. And yes, the Resident Evil 4 has gone up to 138,000 now as the peak players.
Nice.
And again, it will probably still go up some more.
Yeah.
Almost to 140.
Oh, wow. 24-hour player peak was 164,000.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, it's doing well.
That's really fucking good. 93.69% rating.
I wonder what the other people voted it down for.
I already looked. I wanted to know what people were complaining about.
What is it?
One was complaining about the deluxe edition because if you buy it, it gives you extra treasures on the map. Crashing, like specific problems to them, and just generally not enjoying it. Like it's like one or two people that didn't have fun with it. It's like, okay, out of 15,000 people, you're the one person that doesn't enjoy it.
I wonder how many of those people never played the game before, and how many were old school fans of the 2005 version.
Yeah. I mean,
because it might just not be their gig if they never played with, Resident Evil 4 before. So
that's absolutely possible.
Oh.
But yeah, it looks like right now it is holding its own pretty firmly.
Yeah.
Because last week I was super curious of which one, Diablo 4 or Resident Evil 4, was going to hold Twitch this weekend. Resident Evil 4 has been holding Diablo 4 at bay all weekend long. It got close, but Resident Evil 4 had more viewers for most of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, we want to move on to some other news.
Yeah. Well, in Valve news, since we were talking about Steam just a second ago, they have announced Counter-Strike 2.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be fair, it's not 3, so everybody was just waiting for Counter-Strike 2 anyway,
and then they can kill the franchise because that's the end of it.
Exactly. Once you get to 3, it's over.
Yep. But yes, they did announce 2.
They announced 2, and one of the interesting parts about 2 is that one of the things they've changed, if you've played Counter-Strike before, your match lasts like 30 minutes long, and if there was a cheater that was on the map, then you just had to deal with it for 30 minutes and
brutal.
Because you couldn't leave, because if you left, then you got penalized for leaving the match early or anything like that. So they're implementing something similar to what Valorant has done, which is basically an immediate stop of the match if they detect a cheater, and they let you know that is happening. And if this is the future of gaming, that this is the deal, think of how annoying it is. It's going to be annoying on our end if there's a cheater in the game anyway. But think about how annoying it is if you are a cheater as well. You can't play in any game.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're the annoying one, so I'm not worried with your annoyance.
Right. So maybe this curbs that a little bit. I don't know. But people are always going to try to cheat. So
I feel like it would definitely dissuade. And if this thing gets good enough, you get detected for cheating, you're automatically placed in a separate queue. Like all the people that get detected like that will always be separated. You're gonna have long queue times. You're gonna play with other people who have gotten banned for cheating too. Like you're just gonna all around suffer, and that's fine with me. Like you do something bad, like trying to cheat in an online game, sucks for you. Don't do it. That's simple.
Yeah,
that's simple. Don't do it. I'm sorry that you suck and have to pay money for cheats to try to get good.
Somebody mowed their parents' lawn and got some 15-year-old mowed their parents' lawn and misspent their money. That's what I got out of that one.
That's on them. Good luck to them.
Yeah. Oh well. A little bit. It's kind of quick news. It's on here, and sad news at the same time. But we'll talk a little bit about this. We've talked about the fact that Dark and Darker is a game that both Baka and Chicken have been playing a good bit of and enjoyed, but it got pulled from Steam due to a cease and desist letter coming from is it Nexon? Nexon.
Yes, Nexon Games.
From Nexon, because they were saying that the game was basically their property first. Basically, the ideas and all that stuff are their property, and the people that are working on the game all came from their studio. Is basically the idea behind it. So it is pulled. So if you're a fan of Darker and Darker, might want to keep a track of this one for sure, because it's going to be a very interesting lawsuit that's going to be happening. And I think they did the right thing. I think they needed to pull it. That cease and desist letter shows good faith on their part. Chicken was talking about earlier that he actually looked up the assets between is P3 is the name of the other game.
Mm-hmm. P3 was Nexon's version of it.
Yeah, and looked at the assets between the two, and they're basically very generic purchased.
Very generic Unreal Marketplace bought assets.
Yeah. A lot of samey content.
Oh, yes. Yes, a lot of very samey content. But they're... Ironmace is playing, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, it is.
Ironmace is, yes.
Okay. They're playing it smart and slow. Like, you got to make sure that with this big-ass company, because they're just bringing down whatever they can on you. Just play it slow, do what you're supposed to, get your lawyers, everybody who's supposed to be in on this, just work it out, because Nexon is gonna it seems like Nexon is trying to get them tied up in legal matters so that Nexon can go ahead and copyright their stuff, get their game produced, and get it pushed out and be like, see, they copied us. Because they've just started the copywriting process in February.
Yeah.
This year, last month, to get their assets copied, but they're copyrighted. They're Unreal Engine Marketplace stuff. It's just stuff anybody can go and buy, and they're using extraordinarily generic assets and tropes.
And this was, and this is a similar thing that PUBG ran into, because PUBG was using just generic assets, and the game. Created
was it that the helmet thing or the frying pan thing?
It was the frying pan.
Yeah.
Okay, it was the frying. I was like, I remember something that was
Well, it was the frying pan
stupid.
in the game mode. They went after anybody that did a battle royale, saying that's our game mode.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, that's so ridiculous.
Yep. And so they ended up going through a bunch of lawsuits and losing those, and this seems very similar to me. I will be very interested to see how this one turns out, and but both companies are Korean, correct?
Yes, they're both Korean-owned companies.
Which PUBG was too. PUBG started off as a Korean company.
Yeah,
I mean, they develop a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that the court system's going to be the same that they're going to be dealing with. This is my point.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah. So there's precedent in that same court system.
Call this the frying pan defense.
Yes, exactly.
This is definitely going to be, I don't want to say fun to watch, but it will be interesting to watch this comment. All those examples in the DMCA are from 2023. Nexon saw how good the alpha tests were received, started copywriting the assets of the game, and on the page 5, third, the level and extent of similarities between the two games, key concept, genre, and storyline make it clear that Ironmace must have used Nexon's trade secrets and copyright materials to create Darker and Darker, which there is none. There's no storyline. There's nothing there. It's literally, you choose a character, you drop into a maze, you beat the shit out of other people in skellies, and then you go out. Yeah, they definitely copied.
Hell of a plot line.
Yeah,
Hell of a plot line.
Hell of a plot line. There's not even like quests or anything else in this at all.
Oh, and the never-ending saga that is Microsoft.
Oh boy,
Activision Blizzard. The whole takeover. We are actually, as we get closer and closer to the actual date that this is supposed to take place in June, we're getting it's getting closer to happening. The CMA, which is the governing body for commerce and marketing in the UK, they're basically about to okay this sell happening, and at the same time, Sony's still bitching.
Because of course they are.
Just saying.
The comment sections of those are wild. Like, people are like, oh, good job, Microsoft, for making everybody focus on Call of Duty so that you could get your other stuff. And it's like, they didn't do that. Sony did that. What the junk, man?
And for the Redfall thing, there was another article about this too, which I think was the first article for this. When they first started making Redfall, there was no plans for the PS5. They didn't pull anything. They didn't say don't do. There were no plans to make it for PS5. It's like going to Phasmo and being like, "How dare you pull this off the Microsoft store?" It's like, but
we didn't. We didn't have it for the Microsoft store.
There were no plans for that. What the fuck are you talking about?
I think part of that is when you had things like Deathloop and there was one other game that's a more recent game from Bethesda,
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yes. They were already set up as exclusives for PS5, and then they eventually made their way over to the Xbox after their year exclusivity and things like that. And it is a very strong possibility that we don't know for sure. They just said no PS5 games, but it is one of those where they might have thought, okay, PS5 games, and in a meeting about the plot line, about what they were deciding, somebody goes, no PS5. That'll help you out anyway. You'll get to develop for one system that'll end up transferring to PC anyway, because basically that's all an Xbox is.
Right.
So good luck, have fun. But it's also a possibility that where they were like, any type of new games that are coming out, we're not putting over on the PS5. And so the 5 guys you got working on the PS5 version, they can just forget about that and come over to the Xbox side or whatever,
Yeah.
And it's or exclusivity to start with. How do we know that Redfall, that they didn't go to Bethesda and go, hey, we need a game that's exclusive for ours, and then they were like, hey, while we're here, can we just buy you? Would that be cool?
Would that be cool?
Right. At this point, Microsoft has like the lowest amount of exclusives, period. Like they barely have any exclusives at all. Like the only one that I could like actually think about that is truly exclusive is like Fable. It's like the rest of it's like you got it on Game Pass, you throw it on Steam, you give it to PlayStation if they want it to, or the Switch. Like it's most of their stuff is somewhere else.
Well, their thing is, Sony still can't get out of this brain that the console is the big thing. Yeah, like that's it. I'm sorry that your PC department failed years ago, but as you were using, I think you were using Windows anyway as an operating system. So maybe have a better operating system or a different operating system, and you could have competed in that way. I don't know, but again, Microsoft doesn't care. He just wants you playing their games. But I don't know. This is going to be interesting because if the CMA one goes through, it looks like I want to say that that Europe itself.
Yeah, that one passed too.
Yeah, so it's going through, and so that's good for
2 out of 3.
Yeah,
2 out of 3. There's only one left.
So the U.S. after that one will probably end up going through, no problem.
Yep.
And then
which they're so worried. Our government's so worried about TikTok right now they couldn't care less.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's sitting in their office going, "What about this Microsoft thing? What does it have to do with TikTok?" Nothing, but we still need to know. Yeah, just here, take the stamp, go. I got to worry about this TikTok thing.
Yeah, TikTok. There's 150 million people on it that are in the U.S. TikTok. Oh my lord, you're funny. More Microsoft news. Same thing. Never mind.
Same thing. Yeah, I was about to say those.
Leave me alone. I'm still tired from last night.
No, that was all the Microsoft stuff. The last little one that we have is just a little fluff piece, little whipped cream to put on top of this show, and it's for Baka. When I first saw this, I think it was in the car with Grif, and I was like, what? The actual title that I told her was God of War style game in development for TMNT, the last Ronin, and I was like, that's a hell of a title. First of all, God of War style TMNT game. Show me more. Would you like to know more? Yes.
The last Ronin, there's only one turtle left, so.
Oh, okay. I was
Yes.
I was about to ask that question on what the.
Yep.
Okay.
The other ones die. Splinter dies.
That's
So
sad.
there's only one turtle left, basically trying to take down the Foot Clan.
I don't know if this is the one, but I was reading some of the comments in the Reddit article about this, and I don't know if this is the one, but apparently that comic is extraordinarily dark.
Well, I
Mhm.
mean, everybody else is
Very-
dead, so yeah, probably.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
It
listening to what he
absolutely-
just said, I'm gonna go with yeah.
In absolutely brutal, horrific ways too. Like
Yeah.
dark, which we won't get
Like
into.
in the comic, they go like as you read through the story, you learn one by one how each turtle dies,
It's
and
probably
Splinter.
awful.
it's
yeah.
brutal.
Like it's not like, oh well, they died of old age and they're sleepers. No, they were fucking beating the shit out of and all sorts of crazy shit.
Brutal. We don't know which one survived, right?
I do.
Yeah,
You do?
don't spoil it.
Well, then tell me. I want to know which one.
Tell
I
the
have a
DM.
guess. Yeah, I was gonna say, tell me the DM. I want to know which one. I have a guess, but
Message me your guess. I'll let you know if it's right.
okay.
You have a 25% chance.
True.
It's true.
I know, right?
True. True.
I'm gonna go with the lowest probability chance one.
I DM'd my guess too.
Hold on, I need to.
I
There
just
you go.
wanted to know.
You're too funny.
You are both correct.
Oh!
See, I knew it too. Like I was like, which one has the lowest chance, and which one's gonna make the wildest
It
character
would have to be
style
the
of that?
biggest character
Yeah.
growth.
I
Yeah.
remember when this story first came out and people were talking about it and stuff. And, like everyone was like, "No, there's no way he lived. He was probably the first to go."
Nope.
But that's what makes the story so deep.
You
with
know,
that one.
that kind of probability is probably why Red Rings would outlast us all in the apocalypse scenarios, because it's like, okay, he's definitely not. Oh, okay, last one standing, got it.
He would turn out to be the survivor.
Yeah.
Like the one that would just get broken entirely and just come out the other end looking like Rick Grimes.
It's a dictatorship now.
Too funny. Oh, anything else?
I'm gonna go play some more Played Up later.
Hell yeah.
That's what I'm playing.
Yay!
Resident Evil
I'm
4
gonna go
in just
try
a
out
few
the
hours.
druid.
Yeah. What'd you say, Baka?
I'm gonna go try out the druid. Then I might see if I can get a group for Nax or something on the Pally.
Yeah, whatever. You're gonna be playing Diablo for the rest of the night.
Maybe.
Just shut up, good.
Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/Elite Chicken 313 or twitch.tv/MDB Oak Tree. I am taking a couple weeks off other than Sundays, so it's an easy one to catch. So you don't have to worry about Sundays, just because of work, and then also I have to clean up this entire downstairs
Maybe.
because the person that lives in it is moving out. Thank God. So we will. I'll be working on all that, but we do appreciate everybody that hangs out with us each and every week at every Respawn. For every Respawn, I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
Back up.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.